Let's go back in time a little bit. I'm 15 years old, and it's 2003.
And Farnall goes all in, and Chris Moneymaker's going to call it.
Sees the grim news. Statistical improbability to win.
Turn card is an 8 of
Jack, a 10, or an 8, or this is over. This is beyond fairy tale. It's inconceivable.
Back in Rochdale. This is where it all started. I think it's really important to remember where you come from. I don't think it has to define who you are, but you know, it's always a part of you. And I'm from Rochdale. This is the couple of the old drinking spots. Flying Horse. This place used to be called Dally Bar. It's kind of funny, like all the bars and restaurants change names, but they all kind of seem the same. That place right there used to be called Litten Tree, but looks like it's changed its name as well. It's just kind of like a run-of-the-mill little mill town in the north, but I've got so many memories here, and it really does mean a lot to me. My mum still lives here, and it really is nice to visit when I get back here and see it all again. Helps keep things in perspective. I tell you what, it's much colder here than it is in Florida. Let's go back in time a little bit. I'm 15 years old, and it's 2003. I'm still going to school in Rochdale here. I used to be quite good at pool. Me and my best friend Matt Perrins, we joined a pool league which was right here. After every match day, it was a Monday night, we used to have a £5 poker game with all the lads in the pool team. So they're the guys who actually taught me how to play. I remember being more excited to play poker every week than I did playing pool in the end. Me and Matt used to just come to the pub and just borrow the chip set. Literally, used to just play heads up every single day. Like, we used to just play for hours on end. Not even for any money, just for pride. Like, me and him have always been like super competitive with each other. So for a while we were just doing that. Then found online poker. I remember, this is the honest truth. I borrowed $10 off my mum. Right now it would be £10, but back then I think it was like £6. And just started playing the micro stakes and the free rolls. At that time I was watching just loads of poker on TV. So I was watching late night poker on Channel 4, old World Series coverage. It was like just after the time when Moneymaker had won, so it was getting really famous. So like it was when like Raymer was in there, like Hashem and those guys. So it was like really like starting to like become like the peak of like the boom. And from that $10, I've never deposited ever since. It's all from that original $10, which I think is pretty sick. I was playing free rolls, super micro stakes. I didn't really have much of a plan. I wasn't planning to become pro or anything. I didn't even really think that was a possibility. I just liked poker, you know, it was just my new thing at the time. I used to play a lot of computer games before that, so it was kind of just like a new game and I was just trying to score points. I didn't really know what I was doing. Didn't really have bankroll management, didn't really have a favourite game. I was just playing what I felt like that day. And then eventually found a love for heads up cash. I always kind of think I maybe should have gone down that road and like really worked hard on that specific aspect, and to see what kind of level I could have got to if I dedicated myself. So I was playing a lot of heads up cash games during the week, and then on a Sunday I would use some of the profit just to like punt in a random few tournaments and just like mess around. So I did that for a while, and I was withdrawing money quite consistently just to, you know, keep myself going. At the time, I was at college. I was at Bury College. I was studying business and maths while this was going on, but this was just more of like a hobby at the time. Started taking it a bit more seriously. The summer came around and I decided to quit college. Re-enrolled at ManCat that following September, to Manchester College of Arts and Technology, and funnily enough, I did film studies, photography, and psychology, which weirdly enough brings me to where I am today. So I did that for a while, and then poker was gaining a bit more speed. I was like snowballing. I was playing more and more, becoming like crazily obsessed about it. And I have a distinct memory. One of the weeks, I won a satellite into a $200 Sunday Major. It wasn't the Sunday Million, but it was a major. I can't remember completely, but first prize was $60K, and my roll at the time must have been like less than $500, but somehow I'm in this $215 tournament. I always took shots throughout my career, to be honest. So anyway, I'm somehow in this $200 tournament, and I end up finishing 11th for $2,500, which was literally crazy money at the time. I was like, oh my god, I've got like so much money. I remember I was up until really late, like 7 a.m. and like I woke my mum up to tell her, and like she was like, didn't really understand but was kind of excited, because even then I still wasn't thinking I'm going to become a professional poker player. I was just like, wow, I've made some money out of this is awesome, like I'm going to go have some fun. So now I've got a bit of life money and a bigger poker bankroll. I just continue to keep playing and working. I'll slowly start having a few bigger scores, end up building up a bit of a bankroll, continuing to get better, and now we're about, this is around 2008 time. Me and Matt used to go to the G Casino in Manchester too, on Bury New Road. One of the first times we went, chopped the free rebuy for like 200 or 300 each or something, and thought we were absolutely sick, obviously. But yeah, that's how it started. It's kind of sad that the pub's not here anymore. I would have liked to have done some filming in there. I'm going to show you where the magic happened. This kitchen table is where I started playing online poker. Spent so many hours sat right here. This table right here is where the magic happened. It's where my two biggest online tournament scores have been. Sat in this very seat. Probably the one place in the world I've put in the most hours. I literally used to just sit on this kitchen table until like 5, 6, 7, 8 a.m, sometimes longer if it was it was F-tops or scoop or something. Back to the story. I was playing a lot of online poker back then. In fact, I was just an online poker guy. I was just a mid-stakes online tournament guy, just seeing where it could go. So I'd been playing mid-stakes for a while. Felt like I was getting a lot better, but I'd been going through a little period where I felt like I was going through a little bit of a stagnation. At that point in time, I was just like filling myself with any kind of like poker information that was there available at the time. Like I was watching all training videos, I was signing up to loads of different poker training sites, I was reading all the forums, I was reading 2+2, Pocket Fives, I was talking to a lot of friends about hands, I was reading poker books. I was like borderline obsessed with trying to become the best I could possibly be. And around that time, I thought what could be a good idea would be to get backed for a little bit so I could play a little bit higher stakes and feel a little more comfortable with my life role. And I could also gain some perspective from a new player or group of players who had not really spoken to before. Because I always think poker's such a unique game where if you ask one poker hand to a lot of great players, you're probably going to get a lot of different answers, because there's just people have so many different approaches to poker. And sometimes, even if you disagree with what someone might say. Just seeing their perspective and how they would approach a situation, you actually can really learn from that. So anyway, I sent a few messages out. One of the first people I messaged was Johnny Bax, and I'll show you the message right now. But unfortunately, he blanked the message, and someone who did get back to me was a player called Jeff Gray. He was Grandpa Jeff on Full Tilt and Jeff Beesdat on PokerStars. I was backed by him for a little bit to play online. Was doing well. I think I won every single month while I was backed by him, and then learned a lot from him, to be honest. He helped me look at the game a little differently and definitely improved my game for sure. So I was doing well with him for a while. Then I was starting to play a couple more live tournaments around the UK, and we took our first ever trip to Europe. Me and Matt Perrins, we decided to go to Venice. John Eames was there, and I met Dominic Niche for the first time. I've actually got a really funny picture where we all look absolutely ridiculous. And Matt ended up winning the IPT. I think it was 200,000 euros. Or it might have been 120,000 euros. Either way, it was like way more than either of us had won before, and we kind of been, going along together, and that was just a pretty insane moment. Shortly after that, John Eames and Matt Perrins decided they wanted to back me, and they decided to buy out the makeup from Jeff, which I think was around 12k, 15k maybe at the time. This is kind of crazy. They bought the makeup out on the Saturday, and it was the first day of F-Tops on the Sunday. So I played the Sunday schedule, may have had a couple of cashes, don't really remember, but didn't do anything that good. And then the Monday, there was a 1k 6 max, and I remember pretty clearly I was sat on this table and I ended up getting second in the 1k 6 max for 200k, which is just obviously an absolutely obscene amount of money for an 18-year-old kid. And I was backed, of course, so after makeup I probably got around 90k. I remember so clearly just after I got second in the event, and I'd always dreamed about winning like crazy money. The thing I remember clearest is just opening the cashier and just staring at the cashier, just like looking at the money there, like, oh my god, and then just being terrified to like log out. Yeah, it really was a properly special moment, and it set me up with a real bankroll, so I could start playing higher. Like, I gained so much confidence after producing that score, and it definitely like kick-started the next part of the journey. A couple of months after that, it tied up with the first ever UK IPT in Galway. I travelled over to that, ended up getting like 33rd in that, but was still concentrating on online poker. Then that following January, I went to PCA to play side events. I'm not going to go fully in depth in this story right now, but I have a great story. So I went to PCA for the side events, bricked. And then a few weeks later, I decided to play my first ever EPT in France, in Deauville. And this is what happened. And even to this day, I still immerse myself in poker. I still read all the forums. I still watch all the training videos. I think it's just so important never to like get lazy and never to stop trying, because before you know it, in this day and age, you're gonna get left behind.